Hello and welcome back to another video. In this episode we're diving with young Malachi. We're taking his boat out.
Oh stop! It's fully T-barring.
As you can see earlier, I'm a great reverse of trailers. I'm very expert in that regard. People actually often pay me to reverse their boats down here.
Oh yeah, got it.
After a buttery smooth launch at the ramp, we're finally out on the Moana for a great day of spearfishing ahead of us.
The most chaotic boat launch ever.
The conditions this day were beautiful, clear blue skies and very little swell.
Same bro, it's gonna be sick.
Oh my gosh, that's a steep.
Motoring out to the dive site is always very exciting. However, you can't forget to turn your hat backwards. This reduces the odds of it catching wind, blowing off your head, and you having to swing around and getting young Malachi to pick it up again.
You always do your hat backwards. Yeah, should be looking pretty great.
Should I get my mask on and just look under?
Oh, we're about to tell from here. We'll probably try the north end. It looks alright.
Yeah, no, this actually looks, oh, I'm gonna dive in that, but yeah, no, this actually looks pretty good.
Today I am using two separate GoPros, a GoPro Hero 9 and a GoPro Hero 8, both running different settings, so I can show and compare how they look underneath the water. Getting the best quality of footage out of your GoPro takes more than simply getting the latest one. The settings that you choose to use and the correction that you do afterwards makes all the difference. Here I'm using the GoPro Hero 8. It's an older model than the GoPro Hero 9. However, this day I set up the GoPro Hero 9 recording only 1080p and 30 frames per second. This next clip is going to be showing that footage. When compared with the Hero 8 running higher quality settings, you can see there is a dramatic decrease in quality. This day I am running the GoPro Hero 9 on my mask and the GoPro Hero 8 on a wrist. These next few clips are from the Hero 9 running at 1080p and 30 frames a second. While this resolution is great for most applications, it doesn't give you the same flexibility as recording in 4K or 60 frames. It doesn't allow you to zoom in up on fish without dramatically reducing the quality of the image, as well as being able to slow stuff down without it going frame by frame. It is a common misconception that footage recorded in 1080p and footage recorded in 4K will look the same when viewing it at a 1080p ratio. However, this is not true. The 4K footage is going to turn out a lot cleaner with more defined edges and less hazy than the 1080p footage, even when viewing them the same. This is because of a concept called downscaling. Using a higher resolution, it allows it to fit in more pixels and be able to choose which ones to pick when it is then downscaled to a lesser resolution, giving you a theoretical, more accurate image. In spite of my best efforts to clean up this footage, it still turned out quite hazy, as a result of using this lower resolution and a low bitrate on the camera. Even though it's the newer GoPro, it simply does not perform the same as the GoPro Hero 8 running higher quality settings. The settings are much more important than the actual camera you're using. Knowing how to use your camera is much more critical to your success than buying the best, most expensive camera. High resolution, high frame rate and high bitrate are great for getting the best quality of footage. However, there are some obvious drawbacks. For one, you use a lot of storage space in actually containing these files. I have terabytes of dive footage because I choose to record in 4K. Another drawback is battery life. Your battery life when recording in this quality is significantly reduced. This clip is of that same dive, however we're using the GoPro Hero 8 4K 60 frames high bitrate, and you can see this footage just turned out a lot better honestly. As well as this, for the shot, because of recording in 60 frames a second, we get to do a nice little slow-mo. This isn't possible when recording with 30 frames a second unless you want it to look like a stop motion image. Here we go, slow it down, nice and clean, very little drop in the viewing experience. When recording your dives, it can be easy to get solely focused on that. However, you always gotta be looking around you and making sure that what you're doing is safe. Don't take any unnecessary risks or put yourself in a bad situation. I would like to take this dive to share with you a little concept that I've been thinking about recently. If a fish is hanging about in an area, it is generally not going to leave unless you give it a reason to do so. What this means is if you find a fish and it's hanging out in a certain spot, unless you do something to scare it off that spot, there's a good chance it'll be there later on in your dive. Getting in off the boat, I saw this cohero. Initially I didn't want to shoot it, however I took note of where it was. On my way back to the boat I decided that I wanted to shoot this fish. Knowing where it was and having not scared it earlier, I was able to make a dive and get close enough to get a good shot off on this fish. This cohero was hanging around by itself, which is quite unusual for fish of this species. Upon closer inspection, I noticed that this fish on its tail had a parasite. I believed that this fish was potentially coming to the reef to find another fish to eat this off its tail. However, that is only speculation. Either way, this fish got the parasite removed. Probably not the way I wanted it to. Diving with two GoPros is cool. The footage you get from it is really interesting, being able to compare both perspectives. However, it's not very practical. Before you try to take multiple cameras or complicated setups underwater, you should make sure you have a good grasp of all the other basic diving concepts. Don't bite off more than you can chew. The quality and effectiveness of my diving this day did take a significant hit. I simply wasn't as relaxed. When you're focusing on trying to get footage with not one but two cameras, the way you're acting towards fish is going to be very different. I wasn't as approachable and I wasn't hunting with the same effectiveness. However, it's a trade-off. As a result, I got some quite interesting footage to work with. Mau are very tasty fish and relatively common as well. The key is to get a good size one. Most of the ones you encounter aren't going to be very big and they're not worthwhile. So you got to wait for a good size one to come through, take the shot, and you got yourself some great sashimi. Blue mau are one of the friendliest fish you're going to find out there. A reason for this is they don't receive much pressure. Most divers look past them and most fish don't really seem to notice them that much. I've never seen any fish take interest in a blue mau and trying to eat it. Like many fish, the blue mau's curiosity is often its downfall. Once you've shot a fish, it's not uncommon to be surrounded by them. In this instance, I'm keen to get another one. So after quickly loading up my gun and lining up, I managed to get a shot onto another blue mau. When you're shooting past your gun and there's another fish on it, it can be quite hard to actually aim. So you're better off just going for that mid-body shot as opposed to a stone. Doubling up with fish on the spear is something I do for efficiency. I'm usually diving with a 25-meter float line. I don't want to be swimming back and forth that distance every time I'm shooting a fish. It's a lot easier to be able to extend your hand out with the camera and capture shots like this than it is with a camera mounted to your head. This is a juvenile butterfish, perfectly adapted to living in and amongst the kelp. They move so majestically through the water and through the vegetation. Diving off of boats is great. It gives you access to so many more spots and allows you to jump in at many different areas with greater ease than if you were shore diving. From deep water to weed lines and rocky points. This place has it all. We anchored the boat on a rock that sits off the main weed line. I took a drop to see what was around. Notice this poor eye. Very calm, very relaxed. I believe that it's going to stick around later. I'm going to remember that. On the main weed line there are plenty of fish. Even when you see a target species at the start of your dive, it's not always worth it to pull the trigger straight away. You never know what's going to come through. You're better to bide your time if you can hold that bottom time, provided you're not shooting a massive fish. Trevally are one of my favourite fish to both hunt and to shoot. Trevally can appear in a whole bunch of different places, from estuaries to the open ocean, from solo to schools of hundreds of thousands. The difficulty of a trevally seems to depend primarily on two factors: the size/age of the trevally and how many others are around. Trevally are a lot easier to shoot in school situations than when they're solo. The bigger a trevally is, generally the smarter it's going to be. I believe some of the hardest fish to shoot straight up are the big trevallies. I've seen a few good trevallies in my time, but I've never even been able to get a shot off on them. I've been outsmarted by fish of all species, but when it comes to big trevallies, I'm left scratching my head. Here's Malachi taking a dive down over the kelp. His snorkel is extremely useful in helping to actually see him. It's good buddy protocol to have at least one piece of equipment that's easily identifiable, so you can see it from the surface and ensure safety for your dive buddy. Back at anchor, I take a dive down onto the same rock, and look who it is. It's the poor from earlier. I knew he was here. I didn't give him a reason to leave, so I was able to come back and get a shot on him. Of all the fish I shot this day, this poro was actually the tastiest. Very nice meat and had like a little layer of fat around it. Extremely tasty. While often not regarded as a great eating fish, ones of the smaller size have excellent meat quality. The way a fish tastes depends on a variety of factors, so it's best not to discount an entire species. When diving off an inflatable boat, you want to be really careful about your spear points. This means when you're passing up a spear gun or shaft, it's really helpful to have another person there to make sure you don't puncture any of the tubing. Okay, so it's time to address the elephant in the room. Recently, I have not been making videos. I've put very little effort into my YouTube or other social medias, and for that, I am sorry. I've been really busy with other things and got some really cool stuff coming on the way. Recently, I have moved from the Coromandel to Northland, Whangarei to be specific. I've started a job as a scuba diving and freediving instructor. This job is going to allow me to get some great footage and share some amazing stuff with you guys. I have a lot of opportunities and a lot of things to share with you, so stay tuned and we'll get some great content coming out in the near future. This video was filmed months ago and I started working on it months ago. However, due to a lack of effort, it is only just now getting finished. I don't want to sit here and complain about how making YouTube videos is so hard and I'm so hard done by, because ultimately this is something that I've chosen to do myself.
Yeah, got a trip. There are some big ones there though. They were just down there, like almost where you've seen them.
To date, I have made $0, 0 cents off my YouTube channel. I'm doing this purely for entertainment of yourself and myself. Share the wonders of the ocean and promote sustainable practices. However, often it is hard to actually find the motivation to get behind the computer, sit there for a couple hours, talk into a microphone and do some editing. Make no mistake, I definitely miss the Coromandel, Tairua especially. It was my home for years and will always have a place in my heart. However, there was a lack of opportunity for me. Where I'm living now offers me a lot more opportunity, greater circumstances, better living situations, more people, better diving, and yeah, this next chapter of my life is shaping up to be the best one yet. I enjoyed my time in Tairua, however it has come to a close. This may or may not be the last or one of the last videos that you actually see out of here. Content going forward is going to be based mainly out of Northland, especially out of the poor nights, because I dive there quite a bit for work. There comes a time in everybody's life when they realise they're in a bad situation. From there you have a couple options. The most common one that most people take is wait it out. You hope things get better. You cross your fingers and you wait. And that's what I did for a long time. I was hoping for my situation to improve without really taking it upon myself to take any action. However, I got to a point in Tairua where there was nothing left for me essentially. I wasn't forced, it was by my own accord. I chose to make a huge lifestyle change and move to the Northland to pursue diving as a full-time career as opposed to just selling fishing and diving gear out of a small shop in Tairua, as much fun as that was for a while. Change is difficult, familiarity is easy. It is simple to get complacent, get passive, accept your current circumstances and live with it. It is much harder to make a huge lifestyle change, move across the country, start a new job, etc. However, the payout can be huge. You never know if you don't go. You never shine if you don't glow. I recently got to a point in my life where I felt more unhappiness than I'd ever felt. I felt hopeless, I felt like there was no future for me essentially, but I realized nobody is going to get me out of this except for myself. If I don't do something about this, no one's going to swoop down, save me, give me a great job, give me great opportunities, etc. If you want to make a change in your life, the only person that can really do it is yourself. You got to change your mindset, get your shit together, because no one's coming to save you. It's you versus the world. It's easy to blame other people for your circumstances and your unhappiness. It's easy to blame external factors. It's much harder to take responsibility for the way you're feeling and realize it all comes back to you. Is your life shit because you're depressed? Or are you depressed because your life's shit?
Yo, found the big crane. Hard to get out though. Just on a hole down here. Whew.
Nobody is going to care about your life as much as you care about it. Nobody is going to have as much influence over your life as you have influence over it. So you can think of this as sad. You can be like, it's me versus the world, that's no good. I don't want that. Or you can look at it the right way. You realize you have control of your destiny. Your life is in your hands. What you choose is the direction that your life goes on. And it's up to you. It's up to nobody else.
Should I try?
Yeah, but have a crack. Should be able to see him. I'll point her out to you if you like swim down with me. Oh, if you chuck me a gun, I'll put your gun like facing him.
If you are unhappy with your life, do something about it. Don't wait for it to get better. Make it better. Take it upon yourself to improve your circumstances, improve your life, improve your health, and get better. Because nobody's coming to save you. It's important to remember that you don't always have to be happy. Being sad is normal. Being down is normal. Life is a roller coaster of emotions. The shitty times and the times you're feeling down, depressed, angry, sad, whatever, they give great contrast to the times when you feel like you're smashing it. When you feel like you're on top of the world, you can look back at those times and it really gives you clarity and a sense of achievement.
Is he in the hole under there?
Nah, in that hole.
I don't see him.
Chuck your hand in there, you'll find him.
I had him.
He's strong, eh?
Yeah.
You have one life, one chance, one opportunity, and time is running out, so make a change.
I'm gonna easy get him next. I had him out of the hole.
Have faith in a brighter future for you and the planet. Have optimism, but realize that is only going to get you so far. Without putting in any work, you're going to get nowhere. You got to have faith, but you got to put in some mahi as well.
Yes.
Is that a pizza?
Yeah, mate. Good keeper.
Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope it made you think. I would like to apologise again for the lack of content. I genuinely feel very guilty about that. However, going forward, I'm going to be putting more effort in. This episode's sustainability message is look after yourself so you can look after the things you love. Without being in good health, mentally and physically, you can't protect the people you love, and you cannot protect the ocean you love. You got to look after yourself first, and then you can look after other people, other things, and the ocean, the planet as a whole. Thank you very much for watching this video. Catch you on the next one.